come to you in just a moment. So we're going to ask you a round of questions, and if you get the questions right, Shem, what do they get?
They will be receiving a special gift. We're going to keep it a surprise for now. Ndio ikiingia kwa mkono ushtuke kidogo. We don't wanna pop the balloon right now already, but you will be receiving something nice courtesy of the digital publishers in the room. Right, so I'm going to be heading over on this side. Now, as Sam said, my name is Shem Wikia. I am a journalist here at Pulse Kenya. And before we get into the reward segment of this show, I just want us to, I just want to engage you guys a bit. We're going to be testing whether you've been paying attention, yes, and we're going to be rewarding you. But I'm also just curious, because a lot of things have been said here in terms of how you guys are receiving this information. So I'm going to ask a few people to introduce themselves, of course, and then I just want you to tell me what it is that you've learned. But first, let me just, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Ama that's too old. Niseme my youth mpo. Mpo. Okay, pia mimi niko na pia tuko wako. So ukipita kwa ofisi unaweza pata hawako. So anyway, so I just want a few people here, especially people who have been listening keenly, someone to just tell me how they feel about the conversation so far, and also what they feel like they've learned so far from the conversation that we have been having. Okay, now we're going to be raising hands. Who's okay? He raised his hand first. Now, I'm just gonna bring you the mic myself for now. But if we have the other mic, all right. This is our other lovely host. Her name is Mudhoni Rongo. Aya, sema tena. Bas. Okay, so I'd like to kindly request you to hand over the mic to the gentleman in blue. So you'll start by telling us who you are. I'm happy that umesimama pia. Ni vizuri usimame tukuone. And then you can tell me how you're feeling about the conversation that we've been having today. Okay, hold on. Ngoja nataka kusikia kenye unasema.
Good afternoon. My name is Herman Mudhama. I come from Makwiny, a representative of Makwiny University Student Association. I'm also a foreign policy student. The session is so informative. I thank CS for elaborating the difference between zero rating and tax exempt. Thank you so much.
Who else would like to tell me? Okay, she had raised her hand, so we go you, then we'll come to you. Okay. All right.
Thank you. I'm Ashley Rono from Baringo, Deputy President in charge of Strategy and Communication, Association of County Student Presidents, Kenya. I'm also a third year student at the University of Nairobi. And today's session has been really great. We are from a society, a youth generation where we think we know more, but we don't know the facts. We are here with the misinformation. And having these forums like this, we get to know more and to get those fine details which we need. At least now KRA has assured us that our data will be safe. Thank you.
All right. So we had one other gentleman over here. All right. So your time is now.
Yes. Okay, thank you so much. My name is Arnold Nyamwea. I'm from the University of Nairobi. I do everything except conning people and killing people. Yes, let me be realistic. If we had such kind of sentiment that we have right now, I think even the protest of 2020 last year couldn't have happened. Because in a layman's language, this man is explaining. Mimi for the first time in 5 years nimekaa hapa for 1 hour kama sijaguza simu yangu listening to you. One, I've learned a lot, you know. Even last year I didn't know how much we were about to contribute or maybe to raise as a country, but I've learned, I've known. The second thing is I've understood that there are more ways of raising revenue apart from taxing the people. There are more ways generating revenues apart from oppressing people, you know. I think for the first time, second or that time, we are feeling that this institution called the Ministry of Treasury is not oppressing the normal people, because kusema tu kweli, from the previous times you have felt oppressed. Kent hajakuwa na information, hakujakuwa na platform ya raise our voices. So thank you so much. That's what I wanted to say, and thank you for coming down here to us and speaking to us for the first time. Pia mimi naenda huko Nyamira niambie watu that at least I can educate you about the finance bill. Na pia I can also, if given opportunity, I can seek more time to sit with you and also learn on ways we are going to broaden our spaces to raise more revenue for our country. So thank you so much.
Okay. So first of all, let me just say thank you to everyone who has stood up to say something here. At least I see we have a confident group of people in the room. Now, the time comes for us to ask, for me, not us, for me to ask you questions. Or did you want to introduce yourself as well? You want to say something? Okay, so I will be opening the floor for questions from the audience.
Tutakupeleka na mutaratara.
Yes.
Tutakupeleka na mutara.
Yes. The time is coming. For now tunataka tu break the formality kidogo. Sasa tu switch, mimi waulize maswali tuone kama mmeshika hizi vitu tumekuwa tukisema. Now we have a few questions here. So how this is going to work is I'm going to ask a question. Alafu itakuwa first come first served, right? So I'll ask a question. You will raise your hand. Whoever I see first, I have people here who can you answer the question. If you're in the audience and you feel like the person has gotten the question wrong, you can also raise your hand and give us your answer. And then finally, the CS, John Mbadi, will now clarify for us kama umesema ukweli ama umesema uongo.
Atakuwa marking scheme.
Bas, tuko na marking scheme pale. Usijui kama iko kwa budget yetu. Pia si tunapanga budget.
Tutakuona kando.
Pia si bado tunapanga budget. Okay, so we've listened to a lot of things here, we've talked about money, finances. Who pays taxes? Do you pay taxes? Sitaki kukuseti kwa watu wa KRA, nauliza tu. Taxes? That doesn't matter right now. We just want to know if you pay attention. So, the first question is, it's more based on the things that have been discussed, but also the general topic of the day. So my first question is, now, I would like to understand, what is the difference between the budget and the finance bill? Nani akona jibu? Mikono. Okay, to be honest, his was first.
Kindly stand up, introduce
yourself. Yes, so please stand up. You can introduce yourself if we haven't already had your name, but naona nikaa tunakujua. But yes, so difference between the budget and the finance bill.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Brian Munaita. The difference between the budget and the finance bill is that the budget is an approximation of how much the government is going to collect in terms of revenue and also spend, while the finance bill is the strategy laid out on how they're going to raise the funds they would want to spend.
Okay.
Amepata hajapata?
Ngoja. Acha msema kweli.
That one, there is no need for any other clarification. It's got it right, spot on, simple, brief, and clear.
All right, congratulations, courtesy of Digital Publishers Association.
Okay. Unaona tunasema na tunatenda. Tumepatiana. Anyway, all right. So my next question is, mko ready? Raise your left hand if you're ready. Yeah, I don't even know the difference between my right and left. I'm sorry. I failed that one. Okay. All right. So the next question is something that someone in the back had actually mentioned in terms of what they finally understood today. I would like to understand, what is the meaning? No, sorry. Let me clarify. What is the difference between zero-rated and tax exempt? He raised his hand first, but pia alikuwa amesema that's what he learned, so to be honest ilikuwa ni kama hiyo ilikuwa yake.
Okay, thank you so much for this opportunity again. Also to elaborate the difference between the difference between tax exempt and zero rating. In zero rating, these are goods that they are basic commodities that the common mwananchi uses, and they are exempted from tax the zero rating, that they don't people don't pay the input and the output tax. But in tax exempt, these are goods that are exempted from tax, but you cannot claim the refunds from KRA. But in the first one, you can claim the refunds, and that's why we have those bread bakers. They have been using that to exhort the government.
Okay. Does anyone have a contention? Kuna mtu anataka kuongezea kwa jibu yake? Ama
Amepata, hajapata?
Amepata, hajapata?
Amepata.
Okay. Msema kweli?
Yeah, just my friend, congratulations, you got it. And if I was to give you marks, I would give you 80%. The other one got 100%. I would give you 80%. Just sit so that I can explain a bit. Now I'll explain. Yes, 80%. You know, I'm the teacher, so I may need to. So zero rating, you got it right. It is you pay tax at zero. You pay VAT, but at zero. So you charge VAT if you are selling the item 0%, but you paid when you are buying the item. So whatever you pay, you claim it after selling. And I will give an example. Exempt, you don't pay VAT, and if there is any VAT that you paid on the same thing, you are not allowed to claim refund, isn't it? So let me explain. If table is zero rated, table is zero rated, a table, there's a normal table. For you to get the table, you have to get the wood, timber, you have to get the nails, you have to get the glue. So all those things you are buying to make the table, you pay VAT on them. When you are selling the table, if it's, you don't charge VAT to the person buying it, but you will come back and claim your VAT that you paid when you were buying timber, you are buying glue, you are buying. Now if it is exempt, this is the difference. You pay tax on glue, timber and nails, and when you are selling the table, you don't charge the same way you didn't charge the other one. Now the difference is, for exempt, you will not claim what you paid when you are buying the raw materials. I think now I'm even clear. Yeah, I wanted to give that example so that we get it very clearly. And that is why they say that exempt commodities may be more expensive than zero rated, because the zero rated person goes back and items, you go back and claim those ones. Now where we had a problem is, you may also claim, make fictitious claims.
Aya, hapo amejaribu. Memark paper yake. We'll talk to the team. Tuone kama mwalimu pia kuna budget yake. But see, hatuko sure. No guarantees, no guarantees. Okay, so I have one final question before we get to, I'm sure, what most people are waiting for, which is, of course, the session where we allow you guys to ask the questions that you have. Now, my final question is, now, if you have been paying attention to the conversation that we have been having, what is first come, first serve? Kuna joini ya mwisho. Ndio, the last gift. Unless unaweza niona kando, tuongee. Kama unanijua vizuri. Okay, all right. So the last question is, what is the meaning of tax expenditure? What is the meaning of tax expenditure? Okay, so the gentleman in the white shirt raised his hand first. Ama ilikuwa ni VAR? VAR. Okay. So the gentleman in the white shirt, please let us know.
Hi everyone. Oh, nilikuwa nimewasalimia before, ndio? I thought I was rushing to raise the hand so that someone else can raise the hand, but it's okay.
You can hand it over if you.
No, I can explain. It's not a secret. Yeah, my scholar.
Okay.
I can explain. You asked about tax expenditure.
What is the meaning of tax expenditure?
The tax expenditure, from my understanding, is okay. Can I give not even an example, an explanation, so that you can get from what you're asking?
Okay, let's go.
The CS explained when I think a question came about how the deficit comes in, and then he said that there's a projection of what we want to raise as a country. You get? And then in that projection, we add the amount of money that we raise as a country, plus grants, and the loans that are being borrowed internally, and then the remaining is the external loan. You get? Now the tax expenditure comes in when you are planning on how to use the money that you have raised. You understand? I don't know whether I'm making sense, but I believe I am.
Aya, umemalizia hapo ama
Yes,
bado
maybe let me make a final thing.
Yes, okay.
So from my thing is the total money that is being collected from the tax that we earn, I mean the tax that the government collects, I think that's the expenditure.
Okay, Aya, so we have someone who wants to contend the answer, but the gentleman in the black shirt raised his hand right after him when the question was being asked, so I'm gonna give priority to him. All right, so you can start by introducing yourself. Hatujakupata jina yako, hatujui ni nani bana.
My name is Dennis. I'm a journalist, and I think tax expenditure is the amount of money the government spends to pay back refunds claimed by those people who file VAT claims and other things. That is borne by the taxes we pay.
Umekubaliana na hiyo? Okay. All right. So there were two gentlemen who gave answers on what tax expenditure is. Could you please clarify what it is na nani alipata hiyo jibu?
Now my marking scheme. My friend here has really made an attempt, but he was trying to explain the budget deficit instead of the tax expenditure. That is budget deficit, where you add all the money that we collect, whether tax or non-tax, and you add to grant, then subtract, then you get budget deficit, which is equivalent to the loans that we take. So that is budget deficit. But tax expenditure, he is spot on. Tax expenditure is simply what the government spends in making, in compensating for tax claims, the tax refunds. In fact, the simplest terminology is refunds. So you make claims to government. I've paid this much beyond what I should pay. By the way, it is not just VAT alone. Even income tax, sometimes you may overpay, isn't it? By the way, allow me just 1 minute. You see, we presently have provisions in law which allows certain things as tax relief. One of them is if you take a mortgage to construct, to buy a house, you up to 30%, up to 30,000 per month of interest you pay on mortgage is allowable for tax purposes. It gives you tax relief. And the SHA gives you tax relief. Housing levy gives you tax relief. However, there is nothing that compels the government, the employer today, to deduct that tax relief in computing your tax. So you find some employers just deduct tax even on things that you are supposed to get relief on and remit to KRA. By the end of the financial year, when you file your tax returns, you are supposed to claim if you overpaid, and that will also be tax expenditure. Although now we are amending the law and we're making it mandatory, compulsory, criminal for any employer to fail to deduct any relief that has been given to employee. If your employer now fails to deduct relief in computing your tax and overtax or charges you higher tax than you should pay, they will be violating the law. That is in this finance bill. That's why I say this is a very pro-people finance bill. Si hata unaona truthful men have nothing to say about it. Yeah, even truthful men have very little to say about it. Thank you. I hope I've marked. So if I was a present, don't give him, give him.
Okay.
Okay, congratulations.